Hello and welcome to today's video. We're going to be talking about the second half of the shadow of chaos within the third gene key through the eyes of a child. So if you haven't watched part 1 to this, I recommend doing so because this video is a continuation of part 1 of the shadow state. So I left you guys off with this beautifully written statement where he talks about single cell consciousness. And just to recap on that very quickly, single cell consciousness is Richard Rudd's very imaginative way of saying fragmentation, me against you, are the way that in which we've stepped back from nature and think we're separate, or stepped back into a lower frequency and think we're not attuned with God. The single cell consciousness. But in reality, remember, the nucleus is actually in the membrane of the cell, meaning we're all actually connected. So we have to exit this state of single cell consciousness in order to open our eyes to the reality that we are all actually connected. That way there's no us and God. It's just one. There's no us and nature. It's just fluid. So he says here, this shadow, it basically means that you are only trapped because of your own thinking. It is you who corrupts the data within your DNA by only allowing in a frequency that activates its most primitive components. This is a really powerful statement because first he lays it on us. The whole issue in a nutshell is our thinking. We are trapped by our own thinking. Within that one sentence, he reveals the issue and also the answer to the issue, our thinking. And he also, with tough love, lays it on us. It is you who corrupts the data. So he brings in this frequency of accountability. In order to fix our thinking, the only person who can fix their own thinking is the person themselves, right? If I'm having ill thoughts, I could go to the therapist, the psychologist, the psychiatrist, the astrologist, whatever, but at the end of the day, it's up to me, the individual, to choose to switch my own thoughts, to choose to take off the dark sunnies, to choose to see chaos in a different light. Remember in the last video we talked about how chaos, the original definition of chaos is not disorder but primordial space. It's up to me, the individual, to reframe chaos as an opportunity. Seeing chaos as existing at or from the beginning of time. Room for expansion. A chance for me to step into my own evolution. And so this statement should actually be relieving. Oh, okay, so it's in my hands. I have the power to change my thoughts. And this is interesting because I think about the own points in my life where I've had to rise to the occasion of accountability. And this is a sign of maturity. When someone takes responsibility, it's a hallmark that they are growing into more alignment with themselves. Also, sorry for that horrible noise in the background. There's some construction. But yes, taking accountability, taking responsibility means you're finally owning up to the truth, which is the truth is you, the individual, I, the individual, have the power to change my thinking, change my perception, view chaos, disorder in a different light, see it as the groundwork to grow into more love, and then therefore grow into more love and share that love with my reality. So accountability is a very powerful frequency that takes a lot of awareness and letting go of pride. Letting go of pride is another way to say letting go of ego. Ego and pride are linked. Pride can only come from the ego. So when you let go of pride, you're letting go of a bit of the unhealthy parts of your ego in order to make room for more love, more expansion. And I'm going to return to a sentence from the first half, the part 1 video, where he says, never before in history has the future of our entire planet and all of its organisms hung in the balance of human behavior. And that it's dependent on human behavior how this planet goes. Remember, whether it's toward chaos or towards cosmos. Behaviors are derived from thoughts. So another way to say this that we find out later is essentially the future of our entire planet is contingent upon each individual's ability to control the mind, to use the mind, to change ill perceptions, to see chaos as an opportunity to graduate into more love. So this should be empowering. This shouldn't be like, damn it, like never before in history have we been at this place where only we're responsible. It should be like, thank God we're responsible. And now that we know we're responsible, we can start to choose rightly, choose justly, choose cosmos, not chaos. Choose to see chaos as a beautiful groundwork in order to evolve into more cosmos, more love. But again, none of this can happen until the individual says, yep, it was me who thought that. And that means the victim consciousness has got to go, right? Even if you fell off the moped, I could blame the person who made the driveway. Or didn't make the driveway. It's a bunch of rocks. Or I could blame the doctor who messed up the surgery for why I'm cranky. Or I could, blame whoever because I don't have enough money to pay for this or whatever it is. Or I, the individual, can say, you know what? I don't know how, but I attracted this experience into my life. And I trust and I have certainty that I attracted this experience in order to create some chaos, create some groundwork for me to graduate into more love. Maybe right now I don't quite understand, but I do know the nature of reality. I know how reality works, which is it goes from chaos to cosmos, chaos to cosmos, chaos to cosmos, so that I can keep rising, so that I can keep rising. So I see that this is for me. So taking accountability is empowering, and it's a choice that you have to make. Whether you got broken up with, or you lost your job, or life sucks, or this happened to you, it's all a choice to step out of that victim consciousness, to step out of the ego and into reality. So you who's watching this can contemplate, where am I not taking responsibility? You know you're not taking accountability the moment you start pointing a finger at another person. Oh, well, it's your fault, or you said this. What do they say? You point one finger at someone and 3 point back at you. I love that one. So yes, see the points in which you haven't taken accountability as so much room to grow. It's like you're a kid in a candy store. Every point in your life you can find where you haven't taken accountability is a literal chance to become more loving, more epic, more legendary, more attractive, more abundant, more radiant. You are a kid in a candy store. This is an exciting activity. And just because it's exciting doesn't mean it's hard. I'm not going to spiritually bypass this. It sucks. Taking accountability also sucks, but it's for your own benefit. I kind of think about it like medicine. You know, when you're really sick and you're a kid and you have to take medicine that tastes like garbage, you take it, but in the long run, it helps you a lot. So it's worth that initial kind of because it's going to help you. Accountability is medicine that is going to help you. This is the analogy I like to think of. The wider you open yourself to the chasm that lies ahead of you, to the separation, that's another fancy way to say all the points of chaos, all the points you haven't taken accountability, the more you open yourself up to each and every opportunity you haven't currently stepped into yet, Richard Rudd says, the more you will realize that there was never any chaos. So what does that mean? That means eventually, after you take the medicine, you feel so much better. Oh, thank God I took the medicine. Thank God for that medicine. You actually forget how bad it tasted because of how good you feel now. And I can attest to this. I currently have moved through a very difficult point in life. This, among many, many other things, have happened. And I've been doing my best to take accountability and identify when my mind wants to go back into victim consciousness. Sitting here today, past most of it, I'm like, thank God I moved through that disorder. Thank God God gave me those experiences, that medicine to take. You know, consciousness, mana, prana, love, light, whatever you want to call that thing inside of you and all around you, was attempting to elevate me into new and greater levels of myself. Now all of these beautiful things have blossomed for me, right? Now I realize there was never actually any chaos. The divine was trying to drive me into a more creative, loving, open, present version of myself. And that's pretty awesome. And again, I don't want to discount any of the pain or the misery I went through, because it was very physically painful. It was very emotionally painful. It's very difficult giving up my usual routine in order to move through this chaos. Nonetheless, sitting here today, I'm glad I took the medicine. And so what to do with this information that I'm throwing at you right now? I would recommend, if you're moving through a point of chaos, which if you're not now, you will in the future, because this is how time works. Chaos, cosmos, chaos, cosmos, chaos, cosmos. So either if it's now or in the near future that you're about to move through a point of chaos in which you're being presented the opportunity to eat some candy, to take some accountability, what you can do with this information is remember that in the future, one day, maybe far out, you will realize that there was never any chaos. You will be thankful for the chaos, is another way to say that. You'll be so thankful, and you'll see how it was the exact medicine that you needed to initiate you to a new level of homeostasis and health. So clinging to that truth can be very helpful while moving through this, while feeling the sadness, while feeling the lack, while feeling the pain, physical or emotional or spiritual. Just remembering the truth, which is the truth is one day I will be grateful for this, and I'm grateful that one day I'll be grateful. That's what I would do when I would find myself kind of slipping back into victim consciousness. I'd be like, no, I know that this is happening for me, and lift myself back up and, okay. And don't get me wrong, it's still chaotic, it still hurts. But things can be chaotic and simultaneously hold light still. Right before we get into this repressive and reactive nature, he says, the third shadow causes human beings to distrust life. When you view chaos as chaos, you distrust life. However, when you flip that, when you trust in chaos, right? When you see the chaos as the opportunity, the chaos as the medicine, and you allow your environment to mutate you, change you, mix it up, instigate a growing pain, rather than trying to control the chaos or stay the same, the greatest magic is revealed to you. The most epic level up you've ever experienced is on the tip of your tongue. You can almost taste it. In chaos, there's always been a vast underlying transformative order. Chaos never comes for no reason. The dog agrees. Do you hear that? That guy's going off. Chaos is here to transform you for the better. Once again, so you can become more loving, more present, more loud, more radiant, more you, more of who you really are in here. That's cheesy, but it's true. All the cheese is true. You know this if you've watched any of my videos. All the cheese, even the vegan cheese, is true. So yes. Now we're going to get into the repressive and the reactive natures of this shadow of chaos. The repressive nature is anal, meaning extremely meticulous. And the reactive nature is disordered. So this repressive nature, being anal, being extremely meticulous, things have to be exact certain way or I'm gonna freak out. I'm gonna lose it. That's kind of what anal means to me. That's what I think of. It's basically this deep-seated fear, he says, that life is simply based on chance and therefore I need to control it. Well, I don't know what's gonna happen, so I need to have my ducks in a row and I need to be in control because life is out to get me, you know? And if I have this false sense of control, I'm gonna be better off than if I were to just surrender and let go. And then he says here, fear activates a very subtle restriction of the muscles around the anus. So this is why it's called anal. I didn't know that actually. So it activates this very subtle restriction of the muscles around the anus, which in turn affects the entire breathing pattern. And if you're not familiar, breathing is how you control your nervous system, right? How you calm down, how you come back into relaxation and presence. And so this fear, this control, right? Because control is rooted from fear-based thinking. This fear and this way of navigating life is quite literally obstructing your breathing patterns. And therefore, of course, it's hard to regulate the nervous system, feel calm, relaxed, safe, at ease. And of course, one thing perpetuates the next. The breathing becomes shallower, and the fear manifests at a level of anal retention, ranging from mild to acute. And then at the end of this repressive nature, he says, the more we feel and allow the fear, really feel the fear, rather than trying to control it, right? Because that's why we control. We feel fear and that makes us want to control. So rather than react, like going in there and trying to control the fear, the more we feel and allow this fear, the more we let go into the embrace of the cosmos, into the embrace of love. And the more we realize how deeply held we are and protected. So the more we feel the fear around the chaos, the faster we move into its natural evolution of cosmos, of love, which birth joy and regeneration and new heights. So the faster we can stop trying to analyze the fear and therefore control it, rather feel it, we heal it, and we transition to the next phase of evolution, which is back to love, cosmos, growth. Okay, so something to consider here. Where in my life do I try to control things? Where is it just so scary to me, maybe even subconscious perhaps, that I immediately go in and try to contort and morph it and bend it to my will? I'll give you an example. When I was a model, I was trying to control the way my physique looked. This is how my physique looks right now, as it is naturally. I was trying to overwork out, undereat, do drugs, alcohol, whatever I could to get my body to be this certain type of way. And it was exhausting. This is the other thing he doesn't mention in here. Control is exhausting. It takes an enormous amount of energy to continue bending something this way when it naturally wants to bend the other way. So where in your life are you forcing something? Are you trying to fit a square into a circle? It's just not gonna fit. Maybe it's a relationship, right? Maybe something's come to its natural evolutionary end and you're being asked to experience heartbreak or disorder in order to graduate to a new love that's waiting out there that you haven't experienced yet. But you're trying to control this this crumbling relationship and make it work. Maybe it's the relationship with yourself that's not currently going well. Maybe there's a certain way you're treating yourself that needs to be reorganized or reconsidered, recalibrated. Where in my life am I controlling? It's a very powerful question to sit with. And moving into the reactive nature of disorder. Feeling disordered. Feeling frantic all over the place. Head spinning. Maybe headaches are caused by disorder. So the adverse reaction to fear, if we're not repressing and therefore getting anal and trying to control, Richard Rudd says the opposite reaction to our fear is to express outwardly in rage. You can think about a disordered nervous system, a dysregulated nervous system, someone who's completely off the hook. You know, someone steals their wave in the ocean and they just lose it. A waiter waits 5 minutes too long to seat them and they completely snap. This is the other expression of fear. Still fear-based consciousness. Once again, back to that bag analogy. If the bag, as it is anal, the repressive nature, if you were to inside out reverse the bag, now it's the reactive nature of disorder, of anger. The bag itself is still fear. So both of these are fear-based consciousness, rooting from the ego, rooting from separation. And ironically enough, Richard Rudd says, it's this rage toward what we can't control or whatever's happening that actually perpetuates it. We create more disorder when we react in rage. We create more of what we're complaining about. And that's a great example, right? How many times whenever you get angry, has it gone well for you? People don't want to help angry people. Angry people are kind of like, oh, a little off-putting, like, okay. You don't necessarily want to be around or commune with that person. Fear has a very heavy energy to it that repels. It does not attract. It does not bring things into your orbit. It repels. It creates a downward spiral into more chaos. It does not help you graduate to love. And this is key to understand. Because I actually think, at least for myself, the more I understand things, the more I stop doing them. For instance, if I become aware I'm lactose intolerant, I should probably stop drinking my latte with cow milk then. And then now when I go to the coffee shop, I get the bonsoy. Because now I have the knowledge, now I have the gnosis, now I have the awareness that my system doesn't work well with milk and it has lactose. So I should choose a different option. So in that same way, we can apply this concept here. Okay, so when I react in rage, when I snap, when I lose it on someone, when I expel that negative energy onto others, I actually only hurt myself. Well, I also hurt others sometimes, but I also really hurt myself. I also downward spiral. So with this awareness, and the more you drive this awareness home into your subconscious mind, the less likely you are to do it in the future, because you'll understand on a visceral level, on a subconscious body-mind level eventually, that it's not good for you, that you're allergic to rage, that you don't actually want this disordered reactive nature, because it's not in your highest light and good. So knowledge brings power. I'm sure you've heard that somewhere. It's another cliche. The cheese is always true. And once again, Richard Rudd says this is what he calls a disease ranging from mild to acute within the current paradigm. So this is a very common disease. It's so common we actually call it normal. We call it a normal state of being. It's not normal. It's fear. Reality is love. Reality should be the new normal. And this is where we're going towards as an evolutionary consciousness, right? Graduating to beings that live from the heart. But currently, we're at this wild point where we think things like fear, control, anger are normal. These are not normal. And the way to graduate, again, is to take accountability. Here's a really powerful sentence. Every time we stop trusting in life and believe in our fears, which if you're reacting in anger, or if you're trying to control, of course you believe in your fear, because if you didn't think it was real, there'd be nothing to control. And if you didn't think it was real, there'd be nothing to get angry at. So when we stop trusting in life and believe in our fears, through showcasing, once again, through our actions by getting angry or controlling, we begin to co-create the vibration of chaos and downward spiral. Your actions, my actions, reveal my beliefs. And if I'm believing in fear, I'm creating more of it. Vice versa goes. If I'm believing in love, and once again, I'm showcasing my belief through actions. So if I believe in love, therefore I'm acting in love, I'm co-creating a vibration of love, of syntropy, of upward spiral, of evolution, of cosmos, as he puts it. He says, when fear turns to anger, it's a destructive force. It destroys things. And it inevitably comes back to haunt us. It ricochets right back around like a boomerang. So yes, that is the entirety of the third Shadow of Chaos. I quite enjoyed reading that. Lots to contemplate. Stay tuned for the next video. I'm going to get into the gift of innovation. I like that word, innovation. It sounds so, it makes me think of a car commercial actually, because there's this car commercial from a long time ago talking about innovation and he's driving this cool car. So I don't even drive actually, but it just makes me feel like I'm in a cool car driving, or what that would feel like. Went through my hair, innovative, new, novel, sleek, silky. So stay tuned for that. I'll be posting that tomorrow. See you guys. Hey guys, thanks again for tuning in with me for this Gene Keys episode. I also just wanted to come on here and start promoting my one-to-one coaching that I offer to women and girls ages 16 to 35. If you've followed me on Instagram for a while, you might be a little bit familiar with my story. I was a model in New York City for 5 years, and in that time frame, I did quite some damage. I developed a really severe eating disorder, body dysmorphia, chronic anxiety. Oh my gosh, I couldn't even go out to dinner without thinking about how much calories, how much I'd have to overwork out in order to compensate for what I was eating. All of those issues led to quite a depression and turned into PCOS, and I also lost my menstrual cycle for over 5 years. All of this amalgamation of issues led me to soon realize that something needed to change. I went through much work. Many people helped me to get to where I am now. And I'm so thrilled to say I'm living such a more abundant life, and I don't feel zapped and drained and fear of judgment anymore like I used to. I would love to offer what I've learned through my own embodied experience, the meditative techniques that have gravitated toward me, and the own verified games that I've made up and curated to help you walk home to more of you and who you really are, so that all of these things can stop draining your energy. You know, all the constant comparison to others and to people on Instagram, all the over-analysis about working out and what you're eating or what you look like. All of these things are not what life's about, as cheesy as it sounds. And I would love to help you come into more unity with you if you struggle with any of these things and you're a woman or girl between the ages of 16 and 35. So feel free to reach out to me if one-on-one coaching sounds resonant. You can feel free to DM me through Instagram or contact me via email, both of which will be left below in the description box. So much love and aloha to you guys, and I'll see you all in the next video.